Welcome to the latest Watercolors Aquarium Gallery video, brought to you from the Aquarium Rush Studios in downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today we are continuing our 14-part discussion on parrot cichlids.
No, Ben, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to talk about something worse.
Uh-oh.
So today, we're going to surprise Ben with a topic.
Oh, great.
Charles already knows what this topic is going to be, but he forgot. I'm sure that he'll chime in here pretty quickly. But today, I'm going to take the opportunity, since I have the floor, to talk about one of my favorite cnidarians. For those of you who don't know, cnidarians involve jellyfish, corals, and anemones. And this particular cnidarian is one of the hardiest that you can keep, one of the easiest, and super valuable to the scientific community as a model organism. In fact, even though it is one of the most common reef pests, probably 5 out of the top Google notifications for this search were scientific papers. Like the first page of Google, half of them were aquarists complaining about how to get rid of them, and half of them were scientists talking about how much we can learn from them. So today, I'm gonna force Ben to talk about Aiptasias.
So let's talk about why they're great for a lab setting, and then we can talk about why that's really annoying for
I think probably the reason they're great for a lab setting is because they reproduce so freaking fast.
Yeah, and they're impossible to kill.
One of the things I learned about them is there are 12 different species of Aiptasia. It's a genus.
Wow,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know how to tell them apart, but it'd be pretty cool if I did.
Yeah.
Wait, off the top of your head, do you know if the species is Aiptasia? Because if that's not a thing, I'm upset.
Not that I saw it, I feel like I would have noticed that.
These things can be such a difficult challenge to deal with. They just show up out of nowhere. There are so many tanks that we've put in organisms that just devour them and eat them like crazy, and boom, the Aiptasias are all gone. Peppermint shrimp, green filefish, a couple other creatures out there that eat them really, really well. And then those creatures that ate them are removed, and the Aiptasia somehow just show back up again.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention real quick about, so what's the scary thing about adding an Aiptasia-eating organism into your tank?
Aiptasias are anemones, and Aiptasia-eating organisms often eat other anemones or anemone-like creatures like corals.
Sometimes they figure out that it's close enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're fine, I think, but that's the risk that I think that people need to know exists there.
I remember watching somebody put a brand new Euphyllia coral in their aquarium and watching 3 peppermint shrimp come out of nowhere and just start tearing it apart like it's a salad. Oops. Yeah.
Now that being said, I think that these are one of the organisms that are ubiquitous in reef tanks that have an untapped potential for people who maybe don't want to maintain a coral-heavy tank. Like in freshwater, we tolerate Java moss in all of our tanks, and that's just as much of a pest as any Aiptasia I've ever had.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, actually.
Sorry, I can't agree. I've never had Java moss kill a plant.
Oh, I've had Java moss kill plenty of plants.
Yeah, but definitely
Just pick it out and it's done. And it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
like
then
you
it'll
just
grow
kill
right
the
back.
Aiptasia and it's fine. It's done.
Then it'll come right back.
But really, honestly, if you're gonna keep them, which I think some people should, a tank of just Aiptasia would look gorgeous.
Yeah, imagine you do like a 1-gallon bowl and just, you have Aiptasia and then that's your quote.
Or a 5-gallon with 20 Aiptasia and 10 sexy shrimp in there.
It'd be pretty easy to maintain.
Yeah, just water changes and feed, and the anemones will feed the shrimp, and boom, saltwater shrimp tank.
So have you ever looked at what the range of Aiptasias are?
I'm sure it's literally everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's everywhere.
It's circumtropic to semi-temperate.
Yeah.
Circumtropic means if it's tropical waters, they're found there.
Yeah, they are sort of just one of those ubiquitous organisms.
Right.
Definitely a little more dense in the really nutrient-rich areas. Mangrove swamps are actually one of the areas where they're the most common, which makes me wonder if they might be something interesting to try in a brackish water tank.
Ooh, I wonder how they would do.
I don't know.
I think we should find out.
I think we should make Eva find out. We know one person who's got a brackish water tank.
They were plentiful off of the coast of the Florida Keys. We snorkeled there and we saw patches this big of just solid Aiptasia.
And they only get like this big, like 2 or 3 inches. You see, I guess it would depend on the species, but the most common ones you'd see in reef tanks are gonna get 2 or 3 inches.
I do have a friend that has a hosting Aiptasia.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, clownfish, it's big enough, and it's a tank with like 50 clownfish in it, a 450-gallon aquarium, and they ran out of room, and so some of the little teeny clownfish hosted in the large Aiptasias.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, I love it, and you know, in tanks, we really make an ideal environment in our reef tanks, which means that organisms that can survive anything like Aiptasias do excellently. I kept one large Aiptasia in a half-gallon jar, and it never reproduced because I was only feeding it a little bit, and I had really fine control over that.
Did you have circulation in the jar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little tiny circulation pump and some macroalgae and one centerpiece Aiptasia. It was awesome.
You know, I mean, I have to admit, every once in a while you take one of these organisms that you know I don't like, and then you just sell it. This is not one of those times. I still don't like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's a secondary pitch.
Okay.
What if someone did a nano reef display with sexy shrimp and Majana? That's how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah.
They're a little prettier.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's a little more frilly, Aiptasia.
I've just seen so many times that they cause so many challenges that I can't get on board with them. To me, they're just only a past.
But what if the goal is to just lean into that?
I would make some joke about loftier goals. They are, I do have to admit, you have to admire the resilience of an Aiptasia.
Yeah.
They can live through amazing things that other corals, other cnidarians cannot.
But there's just some sort of, like, you have to tip your hat to an organism that can outsmart you without a brain.
Yeah, that's pretty much a good way to say it. Yeah.
And honestly, how dense your population of Aiptasia does have a little bit to do with how much you're feeding and a little bit to do with how much you're keeping on top of them. If you're not keeping on top of them at all, in any reef tank, they will start to take control pretty quickly. But they'll take control way more quickly if you're overfeeding, and that's where those like explosions of going from 1 to 30 over a few weeks, you're overfeeding. If you're getting 1 or 2 every couple of weeks, just hit them with the Aiptasia X and get over it.
That day. Right. I agree.
Get over it. Yeah. I have a hard time judging anything for living too well, and I really like easy tanks.
The Aiptasia tank would be an easy tank, that's for sure.
So I didn't know where you guys stand on Aiptasias. For some of you freshwater hobbyists, I feel like keeping something that is impossible to kill is a great entry to saltwater tanks. For some of you saltwater hobbyists, you can leave comments below and call me whatever names you want. That's fine with that.
I mean, I just think they're cool.
I think they're cool
It's not
too.
that I won't say that I desire them in my tanks, but biologically speaking, they're really weird.
Yeah, and they're fun to watch. They're active. You can see them eat. You can watch the food go through them. It's awesome. So make sure to check out the Watercolors Aquarium Gallery podcast. We do talk about saltwater invertebrates that, you know, we like with no asterisks behind them. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and we're just starting the TikTok now, so see how that's going too.
Thank you so much for watching. Let's have lots of fun and keep those hands wet.